Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women. That is good.
Welcome to Wild Warrior. This battle report is basically going to be me and my buddy are going to be entering the Friday night event at Bugeater GT, and it's a 1,000 point each army team tournament. I've never played in a team tournament before, and neither has he, so we were going to practice together. We're planning to take Dwarves and Brettonian combined, and I'll go over the army list here shortly. But this game is not super competitive. We're just trying to make sure our stuff works together and get used to playing together. And so the opponent we're playing against is just kind of a mashed together army of some of the other armies that I have, and using the same rules for the Bugeater GT. And the opponent's not very knowledgeable about some of the units that he's using, so we try to coach him along. But so I'll go over his army list. It's combined Warriors of Chaos and Goblins and Orcs. So he's got 5 dogs without Vanguard there, Bolt Thrower tucked back in the corner, 20 Night Goblins with Banner and 2 Fanatics. And he's got his 18 or 19 and a Wizard Nurgle with Shield and Halberd, and then a big unit of 38 Night Goblins with 2 Fanatics and Nets, and then he's got 10 Corn Warriors back there, another 20 Night Goblins with Banner and 2 Fanatics, and then 5 dogs, another Bolt Thrower. He's got a little general bunker for his Orcs, 15 Biggins with a War Boss in there, or a Big Boss, and then 10 more Corn, and then 20 more Night Goblins next to them with a Banner and 2 Fanatics. And then I think maybe has something else. I think that's it. We kind of tucked into the corner, so it kind of limited his deployment. The idea behind this list is basically just hordes of Night Goblins with the leadership bubbles of 2 generals, because you can use the Warriors of Chaos general, and get those Fanatics down, pushed in, and then just use the Night Goblins to tie stuff up. But here's our list. Those hammers on the left hand side are actually crossbowmen. I don't have any crossbows yet. And then he's got the unit of knights, a unit of great weapon warriors with my general and his level 1 prophetess in there. Key things to this list is I took the Silverhorn of Vengeance on my general, so all units within 6 inches are able to have devastating charge on the charge, which is normally pretty meh for dwarves, but with 2 lances of Brettonian, pretty powerful combination. It's almost like having 4 lances for 1 turn. It's a 1 use only. And then some more knights and an organ gun and some rifles. So we're pretty compact, pretty small. And then he's got the peg knights over there on the far right. I do have a gyrocopter as well. I'm using I still don't have that model. I haven't been down to the game store, and so I'm using the Brettonian Lord on the Hippogriff as a gyrocopter. And we've got a trebuchet. So our plan is to just kind of hold tight, do as much damage as you can with shooting, and then we have actually some night units, so we can move out and score some points towards the middle rounds. So that's our idea. So that's just this is just a picture from the opponent's side of the table. Like I said, we're kind of just nestled in there, and going to do some damage with some shooting, and then our lore magic is Beast, so we have Wissons, and that's the only thing we really want. And she has a ruby ring, so not a whole lot of magic from us. Put a buff up and throw a fireball, and she has a Dispel scroll, so we'll be able to at least get rid of 1 spell. So magic is a little concern for us, but in a tournament with 2 1,000 point armies, I don't know how much big magic we'll face, but we'll see, I guess. And there's just the peg knights over there. So we have to pray. You know, that's something that kind of we don't have to, but you know, be dumb not to. So we're always going to be giving up first turn. That's another reason why we deploy so far back. And after this game, I may switch those crossbows to rifles because I won't need the extra range because of the praying. So There's Vanguard of the gyrocopter, trying to get some cover from those bolt throwers, and then the Peg Knight's Vanguard up on the right. Here we get to that picture, and there's the Peg Knight. So those Night Goblins back there, actually it's 40 Night Goblins, 2 Fanatics, and they have short bows. So they're pretty far out on the edge. Deployment for the Orcs and Goblin and Warriors of Chaos probably wasn't the best, but it is what it is. Here's his magic. He's got the level 2, the familiar again, and he's got the pit, pendulum, and the withering. So the pit's always a threat, and pendulum can do some damage if it's got a decent target. It'd be good, like the gyro and stuff would be good for that to shoot at. So we pray, and Warriors Chaos to get first turn. They start moving up as such. The dogs move ahead. The Nurgle guys start coming around. He's going around the woods there, which is kind of, I don't think he really needed to. But he's got his Night Goblin. He's got his Corn guys back there. I guess it's not so bad if you can get those Night Goblins out. He wanted to deploy them, move them out, and then fan out when he got down into our side. But one of the things, and somebody who doesn't play Orcs and Goblins a lot, the animosity is something that, as an Orc player, is horse shit. Sometimes it totally ruins phases. And he didn't have any animosity issues this turn 1, but as you'll see later on, he didn't take that into account for his plans because he really gets screwed with it. His sorcerer goes ahead and throws pit, and he did the pendulum, just try to throw it out there with a few dice. And since he's unpainted, he draws miscast like very crazy. So he took a wound for his effort. On our turn, I fly my gyro over the top, and what I do here is I first came within 8 inches, and his Fanatics had nowhere to go because I was on the right side of these guys. So he launched them out towards the back, and then I flew over and dropped a bomb on the Nurgle guys. This is our Trebuchet, wonderful item. Love that Trebuchet. Strength 5 is like a ruined up grudge thrower, but it scores a direct hit on that small little unit, and doesn't kill as many as it could have. So, but it knocked it down to 10. I was kind of thinking it would kill more than that, but the dice didn't have that in mind. So they take some damage. Oh, those little ones might have squabbled too. That's I think why that one was on there. On his turn, Orc and Goblin turn, this is where animosity. Yeah, they squabbled this turn. That small unit does. His general's unit rolls an animosity check and then rolls a 6, so he has to pivot towards the closest unit, which is Peg Knights, which flew in the back, and then make a 4-inch move towards them. But they're still way too far away for him to charge, so he'll be able to move normally, but screws him up. Dogs move up like that, and the Night Goblin bunches, they're squabbled, so it kind of blocks his 1 unit. And then on our turn, I move my gyro behind the Corn Knights, Corn Warriors, and he's got to launch his Fanatics out of each one of these units. The first unit, when it triggers, he launches them out towards the front, and then I was using the Corn guys as cover. And then the other Fanatics he launches out towards the Peg Knights, who had moved up there. Didn't quite make it. It's still pretty far. It's longer than 8 because he didn't want to launch them through his Corn guys. So I'm using my gyro to trigger all these Fanatics, which I figured I would, but I didn't. I thought actually I'd just have to hope that he didn't hit me. But I'm using his own units as his more expensive units as cover. So that's working out really well. Gyro's not using any flame templates or anything, but he's still able to do stuff by just moving as fast as he can, his high mobility. And then over on our side, my rifles, the first turn when they shot at him, they were in long range. Now they moved it to short range, and I obliterated that unit pretty easily. Our organ gun and our war machines are just picking on, you know, he's kind of coming at us piecemeal. So we start firing at I think the corn knights, my crossbows there kill those dogs, and then in the middle we're just kind of targeting his big units of, or his tougher guys as much as we can. So he's got his corn unit in the middle, and rolls another hit with a trebuchet. That's 2 hits in a row. That's one thing about this opponent, is he's a trebuchet bullseye rolling fool. So hopefully that keeps up and we end up getting to the tournament in a month or so. But kill some of those guys. So now there's 5 left, and it's kind of going according to plan. We're just trying to kill anything that gets close to us, and trying to take care of some of the bigger units as we the tougher units with our shooting. I killed that bolt thrower with my cannon. I don't really have a lot of cannon targets this game, so I'll just take care of that bolt thrower because that's kind of a danger to my gyrocopter. And then over on the right hand side, or not the right hand side, but oh, that's just, it looks like the fanatics, showing a picture of the fanatics drifting through, went through the corn knights, and looks like it killed one. And okay, and then on his turn he moves up and goes for a large pit. The turn before he went for a large pit on the dwarves, and we had to use our scroll to stop it because he rolled super high, but he didn't roll as irresistible. Here he rolled irresistible, and he scored a hit with the drift roll, so nails that unit pretty good. Do really well with our 50-50 chance for these knights. He rolled really well, but his BSB paladin falls into a pit, and he had an initiative 5, so he failed on a 6. But other than that, the knights did really well. I think they rolled really well. But then looks like they took some more damage from something. Might have been the pendulum. Might have taken out. Yeah, it was a pendulum. He fired a pendulum through there, and it actually hit the cannon as well, but it only did 2 wounds on the D3. So on our turn, we kind of remaneuvered those knights to kind of threaten the Nurgle guys. There's not much they can do to those Nurgle halberders, but with my crossbows and them, figure maybe we'll be able to double team them. We throw up the buff spell, Wissen's Wildform on those unit of knights because we're not sure if we're going to be charging them in or not. And then my partner charges those unit of corn warriors in the rear with his peg knights. So I'm not sure how that one's going to go. I think the math is on our side. He's got 4 guys in the back row, so he goes first. 20 strength 4 attacks, weapon skill 5, so he's hitting on 3s. So there's that. And we do our shooting, and between the organ gun and rifles, we knocked that unit down to 1 remaining warrior on the right there, that corn. And then my gyrocopter for the first time starts to do some flaming, and it really does a number to these guys. Hit them with a flamethrower, and does 6 wounds? That was crazy. I rolled a ton of 5s and 6s, so but I guess it's not a flamethrower, steam gun. The peg knights win. They take 1 wound. Luckily, they didn't take another wound because they would have dropped a base and lost some 3 attacks. But they win. They break those corn guys who flee, and the peg knights catch them. However, they end up right in front of the night goblins, an inch in front of them. Over here on the Wars of Chaos turn, he declares a charge. He needs a long ways, 11, and sure as shit, he rolls an 11. So that's alright. I stood and shot, but I didn't do any wounds. He's going to be into the crossbows, but you know, that's probably his toughest unit, and they're really not doing much this game. So they make that, they're in there. And I'm not even thinking I'm going to hold this or be able to hold out this turn, because that's really not what crossbowmen are made for. They do have shields, so I do have a little bit of a save, and I get a shield parry. So, and actually after combat, you only lose one guy. You have a 4-up armor save, which becomes a 6-up against strength 5, and I have a 6-up shield parry, and he whiffs with a lot of his attacks, and I make a couple of saves, and I only lose one guy, but I don't do any damage back to him at all. Try to throw a couple attacks on his wizard. I lose by about 3, and my general's within 12, so I hold on a 7. Not rerollable, so that was good. I held. That surprised me. Now here it gets crazy. The Night Goblins had charged the Peg Knights the turn before, and they fled and did not catch them. So the Peg Knights are able to rally, and they move up there to turn those Night Goblins to the side. I flamethrower those Orcs again down to 2 guys. The unit of Night Goblins there gets hit by all of our other shooting. They're down to almost nothing. We move these remaining Knights over there to basically, we assume he's going to kill the crossbows and then reform. So we want to push him away from the side of my warriors, make them go the other way. And that unit of Night Goblins trailing back there. I think they failed 2 animosities in a row, so they're just kind of struggling to catch up. And then on his turn, or on our combat phase on our turn, he does do a lot more damage to those crossbowmen, and I don't think I do anything to him at all. And he turns to face the knights, and on his turn, he charges those knights and forces them to flee. The Night Goblins finally were able to march to get up in the battle. So, you know, I'm looking at, we're getting towards the end of the game here, but I either need to, you know, move my hammers away or reform to face him. In the middle there, that large unit of Night Goblins failed an animosity and rolled a 1 and then a 1. So they weren't able to do anything. They ended up squabbling with the short bowmen, so the short bows weren't able to do anything. And that's horrible luck with the animosity. And so he declared a charge with that small unit of Night Goblins into the flank of the Peg Knights, and really nobody did anything to anybody, and the Peg Knights just reformed. There is one of those Peg Knights that is dead. There's only 2. He just removes them off the top there. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Those Night Goblins squabbled at the worst possible time, like always. They always do that. So nothing happening with the Night Goblins, and so on our turn we trying to decide if I'm going to reform those warriors to face those Nurgle. I decide to charge them out. If the Brettonians charge, I use my Silverhorn of Vengeance, so they're devastating charge, and if I get my dwarves in there, even just clipping them, I'll have 4 ranks. So if he does enough damage, I'll be able to break their steadfast. I have hatred against Night Goblins. He has hatred against me, but I'm not too worried about it. I'll only be having a few. My dwarves fail the charge, so they kind of get left hanging out there with their rear to the Nurgle Knight warriors. The Brettonians make it in there pretty easily. So with that silver horn, you know, devastating charge is pretty powerful for knights. And over here I fly my gyro over. I just ignore those 2, and I'm gonna come over and lay some flame template down on these Night Goblins, and I'm able to, you know, hit a bunch of those, and I'm wounding these guys on 4s, strength 3, it's toughness 3, so it'll be a little more damage, and I end up killing a bunch, and they panic and flee away from the gyrocopter. So there's that. Well, then I need to try to do some of these Nurgle, and I open up with my organ gun, and that's what I roll. 20 shots, and I'm at long range, So it's normally 5s to hit, but I have the rune of accuracy on there, so it's 4s to hit. So 20 shots go into them, strength 5, armor piercing, and he ends up with about 4 knights left. So yeah, I tore them up pretty badly. Then the cannon actually fired a grape shot into there as well. And I think that was all his shooting. The crossbowmen rally that he didn't chase, so that's good. They didn't do anything this turn though. We get Wissons up on the knights to give them. We didn't really have anything else to do. I was gonna maybe put on the axes, but I plan to just fleet away from those Nurgle. The Night Goblins are in range for a side charge, and the Nurgle could get into the back, even though there's only a few left now. But throw Wissons up on the knights, and they don't break that unit because they're steadfast, but it does do a number to them in their leadership. The BSB is in there. He's actually a Goblin BSB, so leadership 7. So steadfast 7 rerollable, and the Night Goblins hold. But there's really not much left for the Warriors and Orcs to do. They don't have much left on the field, and those small unit of Night Goblins gets killed by the Peg Knights. And the Peg Knights, you know, they're pretty versatile with that being fast cav and also flyers. It's pretty nice. So there's pretty much kind of the end of the game here. The Nurgle Knights, I think this is the Warriors guys still have a game turn left, but we don't really even play it. They can score a few points, but the Dwarves, I just flee from a charge, and they're not gonna be able to catch me. Well, you know, in conclusion, this wasn't really a very competitive game. It's more of a test game. We're going to play a few more of these, getting used to the rules with the 2 units. The Silverhorn of Vengeance is kind of a nice little trick that I think we'll be able to surprise some opponents with. You're talking, you know, about 36 strength 5 attacks, and even the horses get the extra attacks, so it'll be pretty powerful if used in the right situation. We'll probably go down to the local game store. We've got a lot of good opponents down in Omaha that fare really well in big GT tournaments, so we'll try to match up against some higher quality opponents. So apologize that some of these battle reports are just kind of kicking it in the basement, not really super competitive, but we're just practicing getting used to some of our units, and yeah, I think it's important to, even against softer opponents, to play some of these games. So we'll try to get another battle report up soon. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.